The mind of God is more important than the hands of God. The hands of God deal with his acts, but the mind of God deals with his ways. Moses knew the ways of God. The people knew the acts of God. And so those who know the acts of God very rarely have a relationship with God. But those who knows the ways of God, the mind of God, there's an intimacy involved there that develops, that creates a credibility with God that only heaven knows. And Moses had that credibility. And as I pursue to understand this issue of purpose, I discovered that purpose is the most important thing in life. I believe the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but the greatest tragedy in life is life without a purpose. It's more tragic to be alive and not know why than to be dead and not know life. And in the book of Proverbs chapter 19 verse 21 is a simple statement that changed my life over 29 years ago. And I read that statement for you. Proverbs 19 verse 21 says, "Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that will prevail." I'm going to quote that again for you. You can write it down if you wish. Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that will prevail. The King James Version says, "Many are the devices in a man's heart, but it is the Lord's counsel that will stand." In other words, God is more concerned about his purpose than he is about your plans. I'm going to quote it just one more time. Listen carefully. "Many are the plans in a man's heart," God says, "but my purpose for that man will prevail." In other words, purpose is more important to God than all the plans you can make for your life. And God has a purpose for everything. And the word purpose is defined in the Hebrew text as original intent or the will of a mind. Purpose means the original reason why something was created. Purpose means the motivation that started creation. Purpose has to do with the reason for existence. Why something exists is called its purpose. And I've been plagued with this question for all my life. What's the purpose for this? What's the purpose for that? Because I understand that if you don't know why you do something, you will abuse it. If you don't know why you have something, you'll abuse it. That includes your own life. I want to share with you briefly on one of the most important discoveries I've ever discovered in my life. A discovery that has changed the course of the way I live every day. One of the greatest and yet most simple truths in the Word of God. I want to share with you on the topic, the purpose for prayer. Write it down, please. The purpose for prayer. No matter how big your church is, I want to measure it by the size of your prayer meetings. On Sunday mornings, everybody's in church, but the smallest meeting in every church is the prayer meeting. Right now, tonight, in the Bahamas, I just left there a few hours ago. I am pleased to announce that tonight, one of our largest meetings in our church is our prayer meetings. Hundreds of people gather every Monday night. They're praying right now for us, not too far from here in the Bahamas. It wasn't always like that. I've gone to churches with 5,000 people, and then on Tuesday nights a prayer meeting, just 100 people. And most of them are old people who come because they got nothing else to do. I'm going to say some things tonight to shake you up, but who cares? There is no place in the Bible where you can ever find a ministry of intercession. I've read this book 32 times. I can't find it anywhere where God created a ministry of intercession. It doesn't exist in the Bible. There are people who interceded, but there's no ministry of intercession. Why am I saying that? Because you got people who go to churches with 500, 1,000, 10,000 people, and then they leave the prayer night to a few old people. And they call them intercessors. Well, according to the Word of God, everybody is supposed to pray without ceasing. And my question is, why are the people in the church afraid of prayer meetings? Why don't they go? I figured it out years ago because I stopped going myself. Why don't people pray? Because they don't get results. We pretend to get them. If prayer works so well, why are we not in prayer meeting? Prayer meetings have become an experience of depression for most people. We go to prayer meetings and we spend hours there, and in the end nothing happens, so we stop going after a while. Don't be depressed yet, I'm going to help you. But let's deal with some facts first. We love to sing, we love to worship, we love to be present when everyone else is at a worship service, but prayer meetings, we just can't find time for them. And then there's the personal prayer life. You know, most of us have in our homes what they call cookbooks. Anybody got a cookbook in their home? Yeah, my wife got a few. Cookbooks are amazing books. We never use them. And every time we see a new one, we buy it. And it stacks up on the shelf in the kitchen with the others. Anybody know I'm spelling the truth here? We don't use cookbooks, but we love them. Matter of fact, we love the pictures. But we don't use them. And that's what prayer books are for most people. They buy prayer books, but they never pray. What a tragedy.